there was two fields of thought here when the restructure of Kelce's contract happened. It was either Odell, or are we looking to go fill something up on defense, maybe the edge rusher, D tackle. So my question to you, if OBJ is not the target of this freeing up cap space, what would be a position or need or player you'd want for us to either sign or trade? And the names I've seen online either range from Ndamukong Suh, who Sue is a free agent, so we just sign him. We don't draft capital involved. But there's a lot of players who people are speculating that could be available. And I'm just going to list the players out there. Carolina's Brian Burns, edge rusher, and then you got DJ Moore, receiver. Bears, Robert Quinn, another name that we talked about in the offseason. Another name I've read is Washington's Montez Sweat, edge rusher. And then some are suggesting that Josh Allen could be had from Jacksonville, who played with Joe Cullen in Jacksonville. So my question to you, JD, is who would you want us to either sign or trade draft capital for, and what position of need do you think is the top right now for us?
Position of need. I was saying this, I said this last year when we was going through the draft, is defensive end, pass rusher. That's what we need. That's the need. And so, I question why we didn't go after two pass rushers in the draft in the first few rounds, getting guys in here. And we just didn't. We just went a different direction. And I kind of scratched my head at it because I understand that, okay, well, what we're going to get out of Frank Clark, we're going to get out of some of these other guys that we bring in free agency. And it seemed like a lot of guys that other teams were signing, we had a chance and we passed on them. We passed because it was either it was too expensive for us to have, or they just felt like, hey, we wait for another guy to come up, right? And so before we know it, we was kind of sitting back and holding the bag like, okay, well, where's everybody at? So we ended up signing Carlos Dunlap. He's been doing a decent job. I think he's actually been a pleasant surprise, man. I like his game. I think he's been given a lot of pressure. But kind of going back to what we were talking about, if I had my druthers, if I had my choice of guys to get, two guys completely jump out on me. All those other guys, all the guys you named are good guys. Every single one of them guys are guys that can play ball. But two that jump out, man, is Josh Allen and Brian Burns. I mean, it's just, to me, if I'm going after like youth, guys that's effective right now and watching them play how they come after the football and pass rushing, come on now. I'm going after the young guys. I'm going after Brian Burns and Josh Allen. And so if we can do something to kind of get those guys here, I think that is a piece that once you get here, he'll stay here for a long time. He's going to be effective. I mean, you know what I mean? We're catching guys at their youth right now, where they're starting their career off. And so that would be perfect. And so we know probably next year, Frank may not be here. He'll probably, part ways with Frank. We don't know how everything's going to go. But I would bank on getting a pass rusher in here that's going to be here for a long time. Robert Quinn is one of those guys that just, he's older, right? I mean, he had a great year last year, but he's an older guy. So if you're trying to, invest in a guy for the future, get one of these younger guys, some of these younger sack guys, right? And so I just see a lot of potential. I love these two guys with Brian Burns and Josh Allen. I just love their game, man, and they bring it every single play. That's what I like about it.
And one of the things that I've seen online in regards to Brian Burns, for example, say the Carolina's going to want a first-round pick for him, and we already know what kind of caliber player he is, right?
Yeah.
But take us back to the conversation we had around the offseason and during the draft. Remember when there was kind of something floated around that Clark Hunt did not want Veach trading that first-round pick this year's draft because we're going to be hosting the draft. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to now, we're in this predicament right now where this guy could be had for a first-round pick, and he's still on a rookie deal. He's young. Would you trade that first-round pick for Brian Burns, even though Clark Hunt wants that first-round pick while we host the draft next year? I mean, I think it's team first, right?
Yeah, I mean, are we looking at the optics of like just having a first-round pick, or are we looking at having the experience and having somebody who is effective that's going to come in and be a baller? Mm-hmm. That's the question. Like, no, we don't want to give us away because we want to keep the first-round pick because it's, we hosting with the whole city. I don't know. I don't know if I could go with that argument. Shoot, if we get this guy, if he can make us win like right now, we don't have to develop a guy in like 1 or 2 or 3 years. Hey, come on in, bring him on in. And so I don't, I know the Hunts and everything, they're thinking about those things. And so, having Veach, he's a willer and diller, and so if it works for the team, they'll have a guy like that in here. Hey, we'll go and give him a first round pick. Hey, but we'll make it a point that every single person that comes up to the podium who's getting chosen, you're gonna see a big old Kansas City, just you're gonna make sure you see where it's at, right? So, Kansas City doesn't have a draft this year, but they got to show they did get a great sack guy, good defensive end in either Josh Allen or Brian Burns. I like that conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to that, not at all. So.
Yeah, but between Josh Allen and Brian Burns, you would have you wouldn't care either way. Would you have preference? I mean, considering Josh Allen did play with Joe Cullen, our D-line coach, I mean, would that be a leg up for that reason?
You know what? I like Josh Allen. Josh came from UK. I know, people that know him and talk highly of him. I watched him out there, man. And so he's a stud out there, no doubt about it. Yeah. I think Brian Burns, what he has about him is he's got a lot of being. He's got a mixed bag of stuff, man. He does. He's got a lot in his repertoire.
It's fun to watch.
So kind of watching him, man, he kind of reminds me, like after really kind of watching him, he has like that frame, like Parsons. You know what I'm saying? Like it's real thin. Yeah. He kind of get up the field. He can, man. When I'm talking about when he gets low and that being on somebody, it's over once he gets on you. Mm-hmm. So I think one of the things he had to work on, of course, was his strength, and he has like that frame, but it's a little thinner frame. But shoot, when you pass, rushing the pass, all you need to do is make sure nobody get their hands on you. Mm-hmm. Shoot, you just chopping down hands at that point. Mm-hmm. As long as you ain't letting nobody get engaged, hey, you'd be fine. Yeah. So Josh, of course, with Cullen, maybe a preference, right? Stronger guy. I like him. Brian Burns, shoot, I like him too. Real tip for tat, man. Seriously.
Yeah. I'd be okay with either one of them. I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Right.
Yeah, and I think more so I've seen more speculation that Carolina's looking just to blow it up and have as many draft picks as possible. So I think that's more realistic getting Burns than it is Josh Allen. But based on what I've read, I really haven't heard much from the Jaguars trying to trade some of their young pieces on that. But I do know the Carolina speculation is they're hearing calls for all their guys, with DJ Moore, McCaffrey, Burns, and we saw, them trading Robbie Anderson this week. Not the same caliber as Burns, but, they are trading guys.
Right. I look at it. It's just another weapon in your arsenal. It's another guy that you can bring in defensively that's going to help out your team right now. And so with our talented linebackers, our very young and talented secondary, and that would just absolutely make the defense that much better.
Yeah,
absolutely would. And so I'm not opposed to that at all. I seriously, that'd be a great choice. If he was able to get a deal done, I'd do it.
Yeah,
but that's me. I don't know. Hey, that's me.
I think he'd be a good GM, JD.
I think I would too. Marcus. Believe me.
I will say, if that were to happen, I think going from talking about our DN being kind of the weakest spot of our team, like in the offseason, probably one of the best, because then you're talking Burns, Karlaftis, Dunlap, Clark becomes more like a fourth guy, Mike Dana. There's just so many guys on the edge spot. I mean, that'd be amazing if we could get that. But I mean, we'll see if that ends up coming to fruition. Oh man, gosh, that'd be great. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get podcasts.